What is up, everyone? What is up? Happy Sunday. What's everyone up to? I don't know if y'all have been in the Discord, the Matrix server for the past few days, but if you have, you've seen I have been getting busy in the lab again, and not in the fun, kinky way. Although my way is kind of fun too, and some would say downright sadistic too in another way. I've been building a SIEM and a SOAR, security information and event monitoring, and a scalable orchestrated automated response system using Wuzza, Grafana, N8N, Logstash, OpenSearch, and I've got it all Dockerized, moved it over to that pfSense old server that we used to use since we decommed that, and it's running beautifully. Better than I thought it would before. Right now I'm running a couple of fixes and everything. I've got it ingesting just about every piece of data that you can imagine. I have it pulling information from Office 365, my identity provider. I've got it pulling from my systems over here, so I've got it on Windows, I've got it on Linux, I've got it on the desktops and the servers, I've got it on the syslogs for the Unify controllers, for the pfSense box, it's pulling in pfBlocker NG, it's pulling in for Suricata for the IDS IPS, it's pulling in, I also installed CrowdSec for crowdsourced threat intel, so that's being put onto pfSense as well. Yeah, there's a whole lot of shit. I'm gonna have an entire video talking about that. I don't think I'll be able to talk about how to, like, install it or anything, because that would be an involved process in and of itself. But I do have everything on GitHub, so that's there. A lot of the scripts I've used, you'll have to tweak it a little bit for yourself, but they're there. The Grafana dashboards I've built, all of that stuff, we'll go through it. Should you get the 7nm Stream Deck? I mean, Steam Deck. If you already have a Steam Deck, there's no reason to buy a new one for my, in my opinion. Did you verify your age, system? 76, no. Was your best mentor, and how did they impact your tech journey? So, my mentor, I've talked about her quite a bit. I'm not doxing her, because her name's already out on Wikipedia by saying it, but Alyssa was by far one of the best mentors that I had. She's the one that convinced me to go from IT into cybersecurity, saw that my affinity was more towards cybersecurity than general IT, but definitely saw my value in general IT when she was the CTO at the company I used to work for. She's the person that pulled me up, and if it wasn't for her, I probably wouldn't have gone straight into a pure cybersecurity role without her kicking the door for me. She opened my eyes to a lot of the things you have to think about in the executive way, but also to a lot of the bullshit that women see inside of the tech field. I will not lie, there have been some quite shitty and sexist things that have happened to her, whether it be when I was in meetings with her, vendors would talk to me and not really her, and I'd have to say, hey, look, I'm here to support her. You gotta talk to her. Like, she's the boss. I'm just here to say, this makes sense, this doesn't make sense, we can prioritize this, you know, all of that based on the needs of the team. There've also been, you know, vendors that have straight up tried to, like, you could tell, want to sleep with her. Just some scummy things that happen just because, you know, she's a woman in tech. And she's written about this as well in her book as well, that she's written, Lean Out. But yeah, she definitely was an inspiration and a great mentor. She kicked in the door for me and a couple of my friends to get our jump starts in our career when a lot of people didn't want to take us that seriously and saw the potential in us. So I am forever thankful to her. But yeah, My neighbor GPU didn't want a work. I fixed the connector by connecting from motherboard to GPU. What? Does anyone wanted to do it because you're a dude? No, the thing is, there's a bullshit stance. So, if anyone has known me, and anyone has actually worked with me, I don't care if you got tits or not, you got genitalia internal or external, I care about, can you do the work? Can you do your job? That's all I care about. But when you're a guy, that seems to be kind of the, expectation, whereas she's not the only woman that I've heard of some bullshit things. I know of another woman I used to work with that's a good friend of mine. I'm gonna keep her stuff on the DL, but she left the job I actually just left, in part due to some harassment she was facing. And leadership was not taking it seriously, and one of the people that she said was part of the problem is still there. And coincidentally, was one of the people I still had a problem with. But for a whole different set of reasons. Someone who molded you for sure. Do you guys still talk to this day? I still have her info. She still, gives me references and stuff like that. I may potentially be working with her again in a few months. She's working at a startup that potentially wants to hire me. But it's one of those, they have to get in a position to not only be able to afford me, but be able to give me the work to justify bringing me on, because I'm not the type of person that's going to sit around and just sit on my ass and get paid. I'm not that type of person. I need to actually work and earn my keep. But yeah, I still have her phone number. I can hit her up. I should follow up with her and just, say, hey, how you doing? Especially because the holidays are about to hit in a month or so. The Jewish holidays. We're both Jewish, obviously. Yeah, she definitely was a powerhouse and a great mentor. I actually have a copy of her book somewhere around here. But yeah, she's got her own Wikipedia entry. She's, fought against, discrimination in the workplace and things like that, and was a real inspiration for me. And the honest truth is, that's one of those types of people that you meet in your lifetime that you will forever treasure and value. But yeah, I still hold her in the absolute highest regard. She is still the number one boss I ever had. Straight up, if she ever comes and says, hey, I want to hire you for a job, I would probably drop whatever job I have and go work for her. Again. Because I have no problem working with her again. Excellent, chef. How's it going? Well, like your name. Excellent. Right now I'm in the middle of fixing a little, issue I was experiencing. I might be showing you what I built. If I can get this thing working. I was tweaking some defaults there, and I kind of broke the certs on my manager. So come on, API. Work, baby. Work. Work for daddy. Come on. Come on, API. Yay! I fixed my fuck up. But anyway, so I can show you this part. This won't reveal anything much. So this is a very, very high level of what we're gonna do, and at first you're gonna be like, okay, Chief, but whoop-de-doo, Basil, what does this all mean? So this is WASA. This is an open source SIEM, a security, information, and event monitoring system. This is what a SIEM is basically where you feed all of your security information into a system, and then you can start aggregating and doing patterns and seeing if there's events that come about. Like you can see, right now, for some reason, it's not seeing any of my agents. That's fine. I gotta figure that out. Probably have to check in a little bit. But I have agents, endpoint detection and response agents that are on these machines. And they feed data in along with other things. We'll get showing that in a little bit too, if this will be nice. Apparently not. So it's feeding my Office 365 stuff. I've got my identity provider hooked in. So basically, I've got everything feeding into this. My pfSense firewall is feeding all of its data into here. I've got all, and that's the Suricata intrusion detection and prevention system. I've got CrowdSec in there, which is the crowdsourced threat intelligence that I've talked about for a while and I've been meaning to build in, and they actually have a cool little stuffed animal they gave me a while ago. I've got the Unify information going in there as well for my switches and access points, so eventually if somebody tries to access in unauthorized ways, I could get alerted to that. I have agents on the Windows and the Linux boxes to see if files get modified, things like that. The NAS is hooked up to it with syslog. Basically everything in there, including Office 365, the identity provider that I use to tie in all of those things. Do you prefer pfSense over OpenSense? Yeah, I do. There's a lot more you can do with pfSense in terms of business connections and enterprisey kind of stuff than you can OpenSense. Like, everybody's like, oh, they like OpenSense better, but I still cannot find an equivalent to do a one-to-one replacement on OpenSense that can do PF Blocker NG. And I know some people are like, well, there's AdGuard Home and all these other things, but it's not quite the same thing. Damn it. Yeah, PF Blocker NG is absolutely goated. It's gonna happen to us two old heads in 2030. So the thing is, for us senior people in cybersecurity, I'm not really worried about us having jobs, because people like me, we tinker, we build, we keep on the edge of, you know, everything that's happening. The problem is the new people coming in, because people are not getting the chances that they should. So what I foresee is a problem in maybe 5, maybe 10 years, where they're not going to have the ability to hire people that they're looking for the mid and senior, because a lot of the juniors weren't given the opportunities to become mid and senior. What about those students and new people who tinker and build? Well, you got to learn to tinker and build more. I don't know what to tell you. The problem that I have with a lot of the people entering the field now is they think that just by going to school that you're going to get qualified for a job, and they're going to go straight into cybersecurity. You still got to do the plain old, you got to put in the bitch work help desk, work MSP, but yeah. Okay, so this is checking my jump cloud and everything. Say a system that's doling out 0 days will autonomously use biological side channels. I don't know about that, but maybe. Okay, so hold on. Do I need... what I need to do is I need to reinstall Windows Exporter was an agent. Okay, maybe I need to do something in the indexer or whatever is going on that's not letting me receive my agent data. No, dude, I just got hit by the USA. It models everything, your entire informational environment. I'm sorry, what? Is that even English? I mean, you put anything, I mean, you're gonna be having LLMs that can drop in and map things out. That's why you should do microsegmentation of your network. I'm in the middle of segmenting the network even more and more. Everybody's like, why do you have like 20 VLANs on your network and like only 1 or 2 devices on each network? And I'm like, everything's isolated. If one thing gets compromised, they are isolated. Do you tinker with Kubernetes at all? Not yet. I've been wanting to, but I haven't found a use case for me yet to be doing Kubernetes. Although my SIEM and logging server has like 21 Docker containers on it. So if I had more boxes, I could justify shifting the Kubernetes between multiple nodes that way. But my SIEM box has 64 gigs of RAM and a 1 terabyte NVMe and a 2 terabyte SATA SSD and an 8-core Intel Atom CPU. But yeah. Now I am running Portainer on top of it, so my understanding is that could work with Kubernetes, but I haven't used it for that. I've been using Portainer as a easy way for me to visualize managing my Dockers when I'm not logging, well, managing the Dockers, getting into the logs and stuff when I'm not going into Grafana, and Grafana is where I have most of my dashboards built out. Alright, let me see. I'm gonna have this running at the same time. What's up, Bengali? 210 to 100. You asked if my message was an informational flight environment was English. Do you know what it means to solve a system, like how we can completely solve old consoles? What kind of old consoles? I really can't wait until I can run my own local LLM even stronger than I currently can do now. I've been doing a local LLM now. Work's giving me a MacBook Pro. That's my work computer here. I don't know how I feel about it. Mac has really weird bindings, but it's a work computer. I just need it to work. Started learning Kubernetes Kubernetes after I picked up some gear working IT surplus as a student. Nice. A little bit of a learning curve with the virtual networks. Yeah, it's a little bit of learning curve like anything. I mean, it took me a while to pick up on Docker, but now I have 3 virtual networks inside my Docker stuff. And I moved all of my Docker containers that were on this Raspberry Pi here over to the SIEM server, which now has a whole other VLAN tagged just for that network, for those bots. I'm going to be using that Raspberry Pi probably for Unify server OS to move the controller over to. I got to move that over. Then I'm going to start moving everything over to move the network hardware to its own management VLAN. And then once that's done, then I'm going to continue on segmenting out things. Now that I'm getting closer to the SIEM SOAR, this was Robert making sense of myself. I don't know what he's going on about either. Maybe there's... Imagine your environment is the old console. I don't know. Maybe there's just a way that he's wording it. But yeah, I gotta move over to Unify Server OS on this guy over here, move off the old Unify Cloud Controller Gen 2 that I had, which the battery is dying on. This way, this can start using NUT, network UPS tools, so that way everything in the network rack will all go off of the APC UPS, which my Synology NAS is acting as the server for. Everything in that rack gets the same battery as low signal and safely shut down things. Did my segmentation towards the beginning, so it's pretty much just a public-private guest. Yeah, I mean, I've done my segmentation early on. It's all segmented, but now I want to do the segmentation even harder and get it set up for 802.1x. Basically have radius set up. So that way you can't log into my main network without a certificate. There'll be a build net where you can possibly get the certificate added from there and then move over, but you will not be able to go straight over to it. What do I use my Raspberry Pi 8GB for? Any damn thing you want. It's a little computer. That's like asking me, hey, I just went to Micro Center and I bought a laptop. What should I do with it? Whatever the hell you want. There's a lot of different projects you can do with a Raspberry Pi. You can do hosting a web server. You can do it as a DNS server, but 8GB kind of overkill for that. There's a lot of different projects out there. Like, seriously, just Google Raspberry Pi projects, and you'll see what a lot of people come up with, and you'll just be like, oh, I'll try that, and then before you know it, you'll have a collection of a dozen Raspberry Pis like the rest of us. AAA and Radius is amazing. Yeah. Heard 802.11bn coming out soon. Here's the problem. You have all of these new, one second, I'm trying to figure something out. You have all of these new wireless standards coming out, but everyone is still on the same damn wired gigabit network. So, tell me, what is the point in getting more than, 802.11ac if you're still running 1 gigabit connections? I'm just asking. Nothing much, Rectologist. I would love to have a certificate-based authentication. I don't know about that. That seems like it would be a bit overkill. Okay, that gave me an invalid option for that. There's no -Q. I'm trying to get my WASA agents going. That's why you need SFP Plus and fiber. No, you don't really need that. You just need to go to 2.5 gigabit. So what my plan is to do is later on, I'll upgrade my access points from Wi-Fi 5, I think it's what I'm on, to Wi-Fi 7. After I upgrade to 10 gigabit switches, because my firewall can already do 10 gigabit, and I have 2.5 gigabit on the WAN side, potentially. Not that I'm using it, it's just there for a little bit of future-proofing. And then I'll have a 10 gigabit link between the firewall and the switch, and then I'll bridge the two switches with 10 gigabit. And then all those switches will have 10 gigabit and 2.5 gigabit option. And then from there, with the new PoE, with the 2.5 gigabit option, then I can justify having access points that are, what is it? AX. Okay, so they need to re-register the agents. Okay, so for some reason my agents became stale. I had to delete them from WASA. It's WASA! Like the 1990s Budweiser commercial. WASA! But I can show you some of the stuff that I've built. Alright, hold on. Alright. So, I have a bunch of dashboards over here that I've been building out with all of my data for me to easily see. I haven't gotten the SIM alerts one set up. The NVIDIA GPU monitoring is still not up. That's something I'm going to be building properly for once I get, my transcoding server up. I'm eventually gonna set one of the servers I already had built with the 1660 Super to become a transcoding server so I can offload some of the processing here using Media MTX, so that way if the stream ever goes down on the Twitch, Kick, and YouTube side, it can at least kick in with a backup stream saying, hey, we're having technical issues. WASA or pfSense? I'm using both. I use WASA to ingest the data from pfSense. They're two completely different things, filling two completely different needs. You would have thought I would have learned it after the 10th YouTube tutorial. I've been saying it wrong the whole time. Yeah, it's like the people that keep calling it Linux. Okay, so let me see what dashboards I can show you. Oh yeah, so this is a fun dashboard, not security related, but this is my Pi node XMR node. I built a little dashboard here, so you can actually see the node and the stats for it. So you can see how long it's been up, the transactions going over the network difficulty, the blockchain height, the peer-to-peer connections going over it, all of this stuff. You can even see the temperature of the device, CPU usage, memory usage, system load, network traffic, disk I/O, all that for the Pinode XMR. I made that. You just left yours in chaos. Yeah, I try to make it color-coded, because the idea is you want to go in and basically just see everything. So, here's CrowdSec. So I've only had CrowdSec up today, but you can see, like, it's ingesting rules over here, and here's a couple of test ones I fired off for blocking. So if it sees a block, it'll actually see what happens here. But this is CrowdSec, which is a really cool tool. So you can see the calls, the events that are going in, the block lists that have been added, so 15,000 entries, you know, going on there. So basically the idea is I don't have to go around to 50 million apps. I'm just going to Grafana to get a good picture of everything that's going on. I'm going to save the defaults over there. You can get the ban decisions, everything. Oh, this is a fun one. Hold on. Okay. So this is all the Docker containers that are running on the server. So you can see all the resources for everything. How much memory they're consuming, how much host memory is available, that's out of 64 gigabytes. Host disk usage, that's across 3 different disks. I gotta figure out how I did the logic on that. Host CPU usage, that's across 8 cores and an Intel Atom. So there's a bunch of stuff there. So you can see all the different things going on with the Docker. Should change the color based on the holiday. Well, I don't give a shit about that. Let me see, can I show this one? Hold on. Was alerts. I have to flip the sources on these because I haven't fixed a lot of these. Yeah, that should work. Not that you're gonna see anything that'll give my shit away, that I think. I still gotta do some tweaks. Yeah, I still gotta do some tweaks over here. But this is a cross-source correlation dashboard I'm still working on. Top blocked IPs, firewall, Suricata event timeline, was alert, CrowdSec events, events by source, jump cloud, Office 365. I still gotta fix some stuff. I'm working on MITRE attack techniques and tactics, alert rules, all that stuff. Yeah, like, I am building all this out. Am I in cyber? Yeah, I'm a senior cybersecurity engineer. And this is just what I've been doing for fun. Right now, this is the working dashboard. I still gotta merge a lot of that stuff over to the other one. The was alerts over here, Suricata, all that, MITRE attack tactics. I had to cut down on a lot of rules for the noise and stuff. That's why you see, like, it's noisy. I'm still tuning. What should I focus my attention on? Goal is to be an engineer. Focus on soaking up as much as you can right now about everything. There's a lot that you can do. Learn conceptually about the different things. You're not going to be able to do everything, but you can at least understand conceptually, and then you'll figure out what you want to focus in on. But a lot of this stuff I can't really show because it's giving away a little bit too much. And this one should be fine. This is mostly just Windows stuff. This is the file integrity monitor, so if files get modified, I can actually tell. It's mostly just Windows stuff, because Windows is just a chatty bastard. But, yeah. So, I've been building all that out. This is in Grafana. And then I have N8N for my alerts. So, I've been using N8N as my SOAR side of things. Scalable, orchestrated, automated response. I can give you an idea of how some of those alerts have been looking. This has been the test. You're not really seeing any information here. But you can see, like, I've got alerts going into Discord, service failures, things like that. CrowdSec ban decision surges. I'm still tuning a lot of stuff, so it's going to take some time. And was for some rather important directories. Yeah. Use Slack. I mean, Slack, my eventual goal is to get this working in Matrix, but I was like, I just need it to work right now to see what it'll look like. And Discord is Slack webhook compatible, so I'm like, I'm just going to pipe it there for testing, and then once everything's done, then I'll pipe in the Matrix side of things. I still probably got another week or two of building everything out. Like, I'm still working on some of the dashboards, some of the other things. There's a lot that I still have to do. Should use a bot token. I was lazy. I mean, bot tokens have their place, but that requires a lot more work, whereas a webhook, I can just drop it in. Had to fix the was kind of a temperamental little bitch. I will say that. I feel like my Debian install is somewhat effed after messed with it for over a year. Reinstall. I mean, yeah, back up your home directory and then just reinstall what you need. That's why I use Blink Disk. Do you know how many times I've just like been like, you know what? It's gonna save me a lot more time to just blow it away, reinstall, and then reinstall the flat packs that I need and everything. Can someone do anything in IT with learning JavaScript? Not really. JavaScript is more of a developer thing, and you'd probably be in more like Node.js, React, stuff like that. Nobody really does much with JavaScript in straight IT. Blink disk, yeah. It's the open source backup manager that I use. Linux or BSD, who's more secure? Technically, BSD's more secure. Technically, because it's got jails and a few other things. But Linux has more compatibility. There's a reason why I use pfSense over using like Linux for a firewall. And that's because BSDs could be a little bit more hard. So I switched to Endeavor OS, so much as not distro. Yeah, I don't really distro hop as much anymore, and if anyone saw my recent YouTube video, you'll see, like, I tell people all the time, like, there's no, like, what's the best distro? There's really not. There's just straight up, what's the best distro for me? I'm still gonna edit some videos, by the way. I did get the video out about OS identity verification, but, I've been so slow on making TikTok clips, because, well, I mean, it's TikTok. There isn't a good or bad distro. It's the one person who can make it good or bad unless the devs add. Well, there is that one satanic distro, but then again, Satanists are pretty cool. There's also that really hardened Christian, like hard-ass Christian distro I remember a while ago that Ubuntu had a fork of. Thoughts on FreeDOS? It's a thing. I mean, I've used it in the past. I mean, I only use FreeDOS when I need to get low on a machine. Rom dom dom. Dum da dum da da dum. Yeah, I'm more of a fan of Cosmic and what they're gonna start doing with it. Right now I'm on GNOME. But that's because I just haven't moved on to Pop! OS 2604, because that's still not out yet. I know 2404 came out, but I don't feel like just going to 2404 from 2204. It's one of those, like, I always like to do a fresh install when I do a major upgrade, for multiple reasons. One, it's nice to get a clean run, and two, I like to get, you know, just a clean slate whenever I run a new, it gives me a reason to, like, have a fresh slate to start new with everything. Doesn't 2204 have old... No. 2204 is still, maintained. It's an LTS. It gets support for, what is it? 5 years. I mean, I'm still running a new kernel. What is it? I'm running, I'm running 6.17.9. Pop OS at least backports their things. Yeah, I basically just build my systems for stability and to actually work. Okay, come on, Wazza. Do your damn thing. I love how I had most of this working before, like, I came on stream, and then it decided to be like, nope, we're gonna F up right before you want to show this off. So I'm gonna see what you're doing, Twitch. Well, right now I'm working with sensitive keys, so you're not really gonna see much of what I'm doing, unfortunately. I'm not showing you my sensitive keys. Is that a Johnny 5 shirt? Yes, it is. It is a Johnny number 5, because Johnny number 5 is alive! Just joined, so didn't know what you were doing. Ace for music here, nice. What the, oh? Okay, so hopefully this will get Wazza working. I'm just gonna have it go through all this shit and I'm gonna just type it again. Desktop environments, I mean, I'm just kind of boring when it comes to that kind of stuff. I just use whatever works. But let's at least, while we're working on this shit, we got content to review. Hooray! Okay, so we got the flywheel one. We got that. We got that. We did the Steam one. Okay, ooh, Strange Parts had a video here. so let me get that working, and we can watch this. Upgraded the Samsung trifold battery by 71%. I guess we'll watch that video. Make sure the audio's working right. Guess I can close that. Okay, let's make sure the audio's piping through. It is not. This always happens.
Front, left.
You have to wake it up, and then...
Front, left.
Eventually I'll spend the time to go through that weird issue. Okay, but here we are. Let me refresh this to make sure the pipe wire goes through. Stranger Parts, one of my favorite YouTube channels. I found him years ago when he started doing a headphone jack, and what was it, the iPhone 8 or 9, whatever one didn't have it.
Yes, hello? Honor, a new battery technology, you
Could that headphone thing be a little bit bigger?
say. Wow, that much better? You want me to put it in what? A Samsung trifold?
You said what in the butt?
Yeah, the new
Sorry.
one. Yeah, I think I can do that. Honor just told me they have these new silicon carbon batteries that hold a lot more than other cell phone batteries, and they want me to try and add them to the new Samsung Galaxy Z trifold, which is this crazy triple folding phone, as part of announcing their new battery technology at Mobile World Congress, which is the big mobile cell phone trade show in Spain. And I've taken a look, and I think it might be possible. But there's one problem. You can't buy one of these phones in the US yet. They're only available for sale in Singapore, UAE, mainland China, and Korea. So you know where we're headed next. Okay, so I've been looking at a teardown from Jerry Rig Everything. I think this is gonna work, but it'll be a little tricky. This is about the size of one of the batteries. The other one's over here. Yeah, I'm gonna have to remove material from the sides to make this work. There's cables.
It sounds like a chunky battery from what he's talking about.
I'm gonna do the best I can. This is gonna be tricky. Like, these are definitely wider than Samsung batteries, and so I'm gonna have to find extra room on the sides to make this work. A huge thank you to Honor for sponsoring this video.
It's amazing how far he's come as a channel. Because I remember when he was just some dude in Shenzhen,
but first,
randomly working on electronics.
Round one done.
The ATMs here have a 3,000 RMB per withdrawal limit, so I'm having to do a whole bunch of transactions.
Wait, how much is 3,000 RMB? I'm just curious about that. 3,000 RMB to USD. Bro, that's only like 435 bucks. God damn.
All right, ready to go to war here. I mean, shop.
Bad Huawei
And no,
laptops
I
are
am
really
not
well built. They hear
worried.
good
Shenzhen's
things.
one of the safest places I've ever been. It's one of the advantages of having so many cameras around.
Unfortunately, can't get Huawei phones here in the US.
Do you have any of these in stock?
Maybe you need to wait the last 4 weeks. It's the
Wait,
last.
4 weeks
Yeah,
more.
4 weeks more.
Okay, all right. So you're not getting any stock right now?
Of course.
Yeah. Have you gotten any or only this one?
Only that one.
All right, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye. Totally struck out. It sounds like they've only gotten that one display model. Now
Should have bought it before you flew in, buddy.
we go to plan B. What I'm about to do is why I got all that cash.
He's gonna go to the black market. Or the gray market, shall we say.
我要这个。这个。No. Okay. 可以。对。
512 512
Yeah.
Đó. Hello, USC.
Get this done quickly.
Hello, just
Yeah.
just take the phone, no take the face. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I understand. This is the
Day.
date.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I open and then pay the money. But if it's good, I buy it.
Yeah.
I buy it. No problem. Yeah. Okay. What country is this from? From Shenzhen? Korea? I'm just being careful.
Maybe you can try this.
Oh, great. Yeah. Great. Oh, that's fancy. It's okay. It's good. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. Thank you very much.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Okay.
Yeah. Bye.
$3,000 for that. China looks so clean and organized. Oh yeah, China is not as like dingy and all that as like people make it out to be. Like, are there dingy areas? Yeah, like there are in any country you go to. You go to the nicest country, I will guarantee you there's some back street that's probably got trash littered. Like, everyone talks about how immaculate and clean Tokyo is, but we know there's a seedy part of it too.
Yeah. Happy New Year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Happy every day.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay.
you.
Bye. Well, that was a total success. That was easy. I might have paid over. Might have paid $100 too much. Didn't quite understand where it came from, but maybe it came from China. Somebody's got inventory somewhere. Man, the markets are so busy. This feels busier than usual. It's just a couple weeks before Spring Festival. I think everybody's doing their last little shopping here. I'm gonna go take this thing apart, but first, I need some tools.
你好。
我是黄的朋友。Let's see. What do I need? I actually don't know. I think I just need Phillips, maybe? Start with that. It's Saturday, and Huang's still at home, but he said he would come over, I think. This is the infamous Tool Brothers stall. I've known them for like 10 years now. If you come to Shenzhen, they're behind the McDonald's on the south side of Shannon Boulevard. Yeah.
I love how it's just like, yeah, if you need to find them, they're just right behind the McDonald's in China!
Hook you up. I'll put their booth number in the video description.
Arizona, everyone knows not to go to South Phoenix.
What do they got?
Hell, I've barely been to Arizona. I know not to go to South Phoenix.
Gravity Magic Rubber. That sounds good. Simulate the taste free. A hint of scent. I need metal.
Simulate the taste free.
Phone's open. Oh, here. Let's get some spudgers like this. Hey, 你好. Oh, how the heating screen removal tool. Perfect. 我要这个在哪里？好的，好 ，OK， yeah， 好，还是一点点。我帮你我 trying tools， 我要开这个，need to open this one。对 ，yeah， I think that's it. What else? Hang on, let me see what's on my list. Okay. Oh, it's这个。要这个。Okay.
I like that China has a bunch of tiny tech. Yeah, they are known for having a ton of tech. Like, there's actually this thing in Crowd Supply. If you haven't seen it, it's something I've always wanted to buy, but I don't see the point in buying it. If you don't know about Crowd Supply, it's one of my favorite sites to go peruse. But they have... Hold on. You have to... The Essential Guide to Electronics in Shenzhen. Everything you need to navigate the world's largest tech market. So where he's at is this. It's basically like the largest shopping center you could imagine with, like, it's an entire mall. A mall that is like a mall, think Mall of America sized mall, basically. Maybe not that large, but pretty large, of just electronics. Like, this makes Micro Center look like a small boutique store. Okay? And, like, this book has, like, you know, contents for, like, a bunch of different things for you to go find out there. I've always wanted to buy this book just to see, but it's also been out for, like, it's been out for a year, so it's probably still slightly up to date. But yeah. Damn it, I just closed the... Hold on. This is what YouTube history is for.
Okay. Okay. $40, $30, $40. Say city.
40 bucks for all that? That ain't bad.
Hello.
I know you, brother.
You know from where?
Yeah,
From YouTube. Yeah.
How
You know-
often you come to China?
Now like a few times a year. All right, let's take this apart. So it works. That looks good. I'm both excited and really nervous to crack open a $3,000 phone. Sometimes you just gotta do it. I bought a screen removing mat from Tool Brothers. Basically, it's just like a hot pad. Here goes nothing.
That's a lot nicer than the heat removing tools we used to use back in the day. Ooh.
Now. Yeah, I'm gonna have to figure out how to remove this without doing so much damage, but that's what this one is for. So as Bunny Huang says, who's the infamous Xbox hacker, he says, when you're modifying a device like this, 1 to break, 1 to actually modify, and 1 to leave intact as reference. I have more phones in my future here. Can't tell if it's a metal or a ceramic. But watching Jerry Rig Everything's video, this looked a lot easier to get into. Oh, it's like a fiberglass or something. Okay, haha, I'm in. This is exciting. I want to know what these are. Oh, they're screws. Uh-oh. I bet those relate to the hinge. A huge shout out to my friends at Troublemaker. It's a maker space here in Huaqiang Bay. You can check them out. I'll put a link to them below. They hooked me up with space here at the last minute to film this part.
Yeah, that's where it's at, Huaqiang Bay.
Very grateful. I don't like removing batteries. Ooh, that's thin. How does this fit?
Yeah, battery removal always bothers me.
I think this is gonna work. Okay, so I can just get this inside these screws. If I were to take out all of these screws, I could move these 2 halves apart. This is where the end of the hinge is. I can cut up to those screws, and that means I cut this side a little bit, but it'll totally fit, like right up to the screw line. Yeah, width is the big issue here. Beautiful. I mean, not beautiful.
That's not what she said.
Beautiful. I've mutilated it, but yeah, that's not great. So I need to be really
I
careful
used
down
to
there,
make
or
a
just
Huawei
not
phone.
cut
They're
their
really good.
wall.
I hear good things. I just, for obvious reasons,
I mean, it looks like this is just a whole bunch of metal. Same thing as this side. Thickness is not.
can't
really
get
an
them in the
issue.
USA.
Let's do the last panel here. All right, that was better. Go through and remove 16 million
Hold on, I need a
screws.
browser over here for something else.
Cool. Let's get this battery
Sorry
out
about
of here. I don't know why there are magnets. Oh, these magnets talk to the other magnets through the screen. Talk to the other magnets, are attracted to the other magnets. I'm tired. The other thing I need to figure out is my battery situation. So the battery management system does a ton of different things. So it protects the battery. It prevents it from getting too discharged, too charged. I think it even does like
Yeah,
heat
the BCM,
management,
battery charge
all
management.
that good stuff. So this up here is going to be the BMS. What I want to
Or
do is
BMS.
swap this part for the same part over here, but I need the battery management system to be the Samsung one so it knows how.
By the way, I fixed my agents. You know what the issue was? For some reason, my Docker Compose somehow got modified. I blame Claude from doing some stuff. That it was only allowing port 1514 UDP. I needed 1514 TCP.
Talk to the same side. What I should do is put the phone back together, put the battery in it, make sure the phone boots, and then we can swap them. Let's see if we can get this to turn on. Yes! Okay, it boots. So what I want to know is if I screw up my battery transplant, will I know? So if this is unplugged, does it still boot up? Okay, well, I mean, I guess that's good. So this one we're going to try and keep as long as possible, and then we're going to cut it as short as possible on this cell. And then I should be able to tack them together. So I need to go buy a spot welder so that I can swap these.
So this is the one thing I really love about China and why I've always been wanting to go to Huaqiang Bay. Like, oh, I just need to go buy a spot welder. That shit I can't even say, and I got a micro center near me. Like, if I want a spot welder, I have to order that shit and wait a few days. And for those of you that don't know what a spot welder is, it's basically what you do for, you know, batteries. So you don't solder a battery, you spot weld it, because if you solder a battery, technically you could, but that's too much heat on a battery for too long that it can potentially cause an issue. So, yeah.
你好，我要阴阳眼，我要这个。
Got Honor products? I'm not sure about
No,
Honor.
thank you. I don't smoke. This one.
I'm just
For
reinstalling
batteries.
was
Yes.
on
Yeah,
the
okay. This one.
Windows box.
Yep. Just like that. Oh, and this is the bottom. A with Z. Spot welder. Yep. I need
Wow!
this.
Hold on, let me see that.
And this is the bottom.
Damn, that is a really interesting... It's actually kind of cute looking spot welder. Like, when he said spot welder, I was expecting, like, this big industrial looking machine that's gonna have to tack weld onto it.
A with Z. Spot welder. Yep. I need this. That's good. Oh. Yeah. Okay. 可以。Yeah. 要这个。Yeah. 215. About 30 bucks. Oh, and it has a nickel. Great. And I bet you power it with USB-C. And 2 magnets for I don't know what. Good to go. Okay.
Okay.
好的。好。谢谢你哦。
谢谢。
Okay.
Yeah.
再见. See you. Huang wasn't there, but it was super easy, so I think I am good to go. I guess I just plug this in via USB and be off to the races. All right. We got flush cutters and my spot welder. Oh, dang it. I ripped it. Okay. To say which is which, I might have to go get a multimeter. Okay, so that is positive. This is positive. Okay, great. If that went on like that, then this goes on like this. That side is done. Just make sure it looks good electrically. Yep, we've got continuity up on these pads here. Should be good to go. Beautiful. Okay, the moment of truth. Does it turn on? Here we go. Oh, it's out of battery, but that's a good sign. This has been charging for 10 minutes. Let's check again.
That's a lot of battery if you think
All
about
right, we're at 21%.
21%, 22. Damn, that's a fast charge.
Yes, this is totally gonna work. Yeah, we're in business. Look at that, 22%. It's charging, baby. Yes, and I gotta figure out how I'm gonna fit everything in here and make it look good. Okay, I have one more thing to check to see if this is possible, and that is the hinge. I bought a little cheap Dremel-like grinder set here. I'm just gonna grind into a few things and make sure the hinges still work. Okay. Okay.
There we go. Got the Windows agent working.
Yeah. This is what I wanted to see. So this has a cover over it. That's the width.
So I think we got all 5 agents of the machines I wanted working. Maybe. Nope.
Oh, and I need to go
troubleshooting
just past the
that,
batteries.
yeah.
Okay, this should work. I think we're good. It's doable. It's gonna be very, very tight.
I wish I had the confidence to, like, modify a $3,000 device without regard.
Yeah, piece of cake. No worries. It's a little bit softer, but not a big deal. So the next step is to make a CAD drawing of this so that I can properly CNC mill these out. All these extra spaces for the batteries. I might send this out to be scanned instead, like I did with the Apple Watch.
Yeah, there's, like, some
That
new
worked pretty
batteries
well.
in there. Apparently it's going to be 71% larger
Okay,
battery
I cleaned these
capacity.
up as best I could, and I'm headed over to the shippers to ship
That's on
them
the
to the 3D
LXDT
scanning
desktop
service, and I
environment.
should
It's a nice,
have 3D
lightweight
drawings
environment.
back in the next couple days here.
That blows my mind. Like, you have to take multiple withdrawals like that.
Yeah，我再来一个 Samsung Trifold，可以吗
我给你看，但是它有贵了一点点。
？Okay. Okay. Okay. Good. Thank you. I'm over at Huang's booth. So I have some carbon fiber openers so that hopefully I don't scratch the back this time. Also, I realized I need adhesives to put it back together. So I've got a couple various ones. I've got Huang's own Xuanhou brand. Yeah. And then we have a bunch of applicator tips. Do you have alcohol IPA?
We have too many people use the 酒精.
酒精. What's 酒精? What is this? What is it? Yeah, that's what I want. We've got alcohol of unknown variety. Probably not isopropyl, like methanol maybe.
Oh, jeez.
Clean room
Methanol? Jeez.
wipes. These don't leave any like strings.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's it. Okay, let's do this.
Okay.
Yeah.
89.
89.
Yeah. Thank you, bro.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay, I'll come back. I'll probably see you like tomorrow or the next day. Come back for more things.
Okay.
Okay.
you.
See you, Juan. Thank you. Bye. He's the best. Absolutely the best. Should have everything I need. If I don't, he's just across the street, so super convenient. Another day, another phone. I'm gonna try and take this one apart now without breaking anything. In particular, I don't want to scratch anything, but I also don't want to break that screen. I think I know what I'm doing now. Let's hope. All right, let's start on this panel again.
The reality is he
Same
barely
order
knows
as
anything
before.
that he's doing. And I mean that in the respectful
Success.
way, because that's how we all operate.
Okay, we're there.
Oh, damn, that's kind of clean the way he did that.
Look it up. So I have an issue, which is I thought the batteries were smaller than they actually are. And I just don't have a lot of extra room. So what I want to do is figure out, like, this is a bottom speaker. I'm thinking maybe I need to be able to remove that. So I'm going to try removing that and see if the phone still boots. And then we're going to pull the speaker here. And so I'm going to leave that out. I'm going to reattach the screen. There's that. All right, let's turn this thing back on. Huh. That should work. Well, if nothing else, we should be able to play some video. Okay. We have sound. All right. Off to the races. Yeah, when this was down, I came through and I just sliced that cable right there. That cable.
Oh.
I'm clearly gonna have to go buy another phone to get a working screen out of. I do have budgeted enough for 2 more phones. Well, that was an expensive one.
Jesus.
All right, I'm gonna tackle this again
Point
tomorrow.
out smartphones
I managed to
prevent
sort
signal
out
interference
a
between
more
components.
private place to film and work on this project.
Well, there really
Make
isn't
it
much
look
signal
a little bit
interference
nicer
between
here.
different
I routed a few
components.
lights.
Because it's mostly wired.
That's much better.
And
Let's
there's
get into
usually
it. Got my
shielding
test
on the
phone
PCBs
here.
of the
I
stuff that's
want
sensitive
to
enough.
swap out all 3 batteries for the new Honor cells. So let me get those. We're gonna have to swap the BMSs over on the 2 big ones. I've got the little one already done.
Electronics are not nearly as sensitive today as they used to be. Like, they have static tolerances
Batteries
built
that I
in
got from the
nowadays.
first phone
Not that you
out.
should be, but yeah.
So first step is to remove the BMS off these and transplant it over. Now, these are slightly different. I don't know if the BMSs care. This is definitely the middle one, and this side.
And while we were watching that video, I got all 5 agents working again. Woo! So we got my endpoint detection and response working again. It broke originally because I didn't have, for some reason, the Docker put 1515 UDP instead of TCP, which it needs to register with when it did that. And then also, it changed the cert when I did some updates recently, which required everything to be re-registered, but yeah.
Side. Yeah, so these unfold this way. Here, try not to short it. That's working.
Oh, I would not do this kind of project myself either. This is too expensive
Get you going.
and
I need
involved
to redo that one.
for too little reward.
That went better. Pull this battery. Beautiful.
Like, you have to remember, like, he said he's got budget in there for like 4 phones. He spent like $3,000 on each phone. So he's got $12,000 budgeted in messing up phones. Okay, the average person definitely doesn't have that kind of cash laying around for a fun project like this. He's definitely getting sponsored for this. No hate to him whatsoever. I appreciate that this is the kind of thing he does. If you remember, he became famous because he spent months getting a headphone jack into one of the first iPhones that didn't have a headphone jack, proving that you could do it, and then made a whole mod, and then you could actually do it, and it was interesting seeing that entire journey. But yeah. And by the way, Stranger Parts is one of the few creators I will break my 20-minute or around there rule for a video for.
Come on.
You can see he's shocking himself quite a bit.
Actually, I put it in this phone. And this will help tell whether I fried that BMS or not. I think we're good to boot. What I don't know is if this battery is charged enough. Let me try putting it on charger.
Psst.
Yep, there we go. Sweet. Let's swap in the other 3 batteries. This one goes here. This one. Oh, and this one got broken. It's not super pretty, but all right, phone. Okay, this is easy to diagnose because I can just plug back in the original batteries and see which ones work. There it is. Okay, so maybe it's that middle battery. Okay, this is reading 37, and it's blinking, which maybe means charging? I'm gonna go with it. That's the charging indicator. All right, let's try.
I've never seen a charging indicator of
Let's see
the.
if we can get it
yeah,
to
we
power
got-
on with the other battery. Yeah, it's charging. Hey! Boots. Sweet. Okay, so I have all 3 batteries switched over. This is now on all Honor batteries. That's exciting.
Oh, these are
Now,
Honor batteries.
I really
okay.
just have to fit them in the phone, which is going to be the harder part, I think. More time consuming for sure. But yeah, this is going to work. I just got to cram it all in now. I just got the parts back from being 3D scanned. So I got to figure out how this is all going to fit mechanically. We're going to cut pretty close to this edge. Since these are bigger, they're gonna have to go down here. So we're just gonna have to go all the way to the bottom, all the way up, and then over as far as we possibly can without getting in the way of these holes, because that's where the hinge attaches. I gotta make sure to preserve enough holes here for the hinge to fit on there. These are going in here. So this is the board that goes here with all the cameras on it.
Is not entry level.
And this
I started out with networking and MSP.
So I think what's going to happen is
you're going to want to start
this section here. This is going to go
I generally
underneath.
recommend
This is
if you
gonna
can get
sit
it
on top of the battery, which means
MSP,
this section has to get a little
which
bit
is a managed
thicker.
service provider. You can wear many different hats.
Bend up a little bit. That will sit
System
underneath.
administration.
Makes this a
network
little bit more
administration,
complicated mechanically, but I think it'll work. So
they
I'm
all have
thinking I
junior
need to have
roles.
some sort of cover made
Networking
for this
technically
that is
is
it's
a cybersecurity role.
replacing this
So
guy
you can work
here
in that
with
angle
something
too.
that's like a bit of a box.
But networking
which
is
has some
kind of
space
harder
over
to
here.
find a lot of jobs for
It's
now.
like over the top. So one of the questions
But it is a
like,
vital thing to
what
know.
can I carve out with the CNC mill here?
So just
So let's
start
take a
getting
look
your
at the
IT
files that came back
experience,
from the 3D scanning
and then you're
service.
gonna have to
This
do the
looks
shitty thing
great.
of
wow, they
get your
really drew everything. This looks really good. Sweet. Okay.
the stupid paperwork that people want, which is your
now
degrees
I have
and
full scan
certs and all of that to get past
this,
the ATS application
this,
tracking systems and
and
HR.
I
Same
need
thing I'm
to
doing now to
draw
go
in
get my
here
bachelor's
how
degree.
to carve this out. This
It's
is
totally different
what
than it
I have
used to be,
designed.
where
So
you
I
used
cut
to be
out
able to
this area here, like cutting this section out
do a
here,
little bit better. And then also get
that
yourself
will
a
be where this
GitHub.
battery fits in, so it'll fit in this section here.
Make yourself a
So
GitHub
that's
with a
where
bunch of different
the
projects.
battery
Use that
will
GitHub
go.
as part of your
Yeah,
resume
cut that out on the
to
CNC mill.
show things
Let
off. Like I
me
put my
do
GitHub on my
3D
resumes.
print of this with the section
And I have
cut
like
out, and that way I don't have to spend all the
40
time
or
machining
so
this
different repos, give or take.
before I know whether this is going to work. Let me go do that. Okay, this is a kind of rough 3D print, but this is just testing where that, oh, that's sweet. That's gonna be perfect.
I love how 3D printing has made it so much more
But
accessible
it's gonna
to
sit on
prototype.
top. Here, let me get the one that has the right BMS on it. So this goes here, and then this goes like that. Great. But this now sits too high, so if I put this cover on, it doesn't mate there. So I need to make this cover thicker.
I got my CISSP a couple years ago.
Here. All right, so I realized I don't actually need a box. I just need
A plus,
like a
Network
shim
Plus,
that just goes around the edges.
V4.
And then I
I
can
just
use
got
this
Security
as
Plus
the,
this
like,
past
the
week.
lid of my box. So
Next I gotta do Project Plus,
yeah.
Data Plus,
So print it out.
CISA
This is
Plus,
the shim here.
and
the
then
idea
Pen Test Plus.
is that it will go like this, and then I will glue this on top of there,
Oh damn!
and that will sit there. And if I do it on my
That's
3D
pretty freaking
print,
slick.
actually, I can see how these fit together. Ooh, yes. Yes! Okay, this looks great, actually. Chinese New Year is in just a few days, and everything is starting to shut down. The markets, stores, restaurants, ATM machines are running out of cash. I gotta get out of here before I can't get anything done. So I'm gonna head home to my workshop to finish this up.
That's so crazy. You fly to China just for a few days, get that worked out, and then just fly back.
All right, back in the shop and ready to mill out these phones. Finish this up for real. I'm gonna make some fixtures to hold them on the Carvera mill, and then I'll start milling out the middle here. All right, I've got a 3D printed stock here. This is the scan, the unmodified scan. Okay, that looked pretty good. I probably should have stopped it a little bit sooner, just to avoid milling out the bottom. Let's do a test fit up just to make sure everything fits like it should. Okay, so looking at this here. Oh yeah, this is just with the stock BMS, but looks great. I feel like I should procrastinate and not do this, but I think I'm just gonna jump into it.
I feel like you should have put some liquid down on that. But that's just me.
It's looking good. Whoops, broke a bit. Not quite sure how. I just think it's enough little pieces flopping around as I'm doing this. So I'm not gonna change anything right now. I'm just gonna keep going, I think. Well, that is not optimal. I don't know, maybe I need better support or something? I don't know. Well, I've got more tooling, so I'm just gonna keep feeding it
Have a good
tools, I
night.
think.
You see those sparks going on? You generally don't want to have sparks when you're CNCing like that. That's why you usually have liquid going. So, I mean, you don't have to have a liquid spray attached to your machine. You can have like a little spray bottle right there just putting a little bit of oil there, but yeah.
Despite the broken tools, that went pretty well. It's looking good. So 2 little touch-ups there, but that went quite well, all considering.
Also felt like he was going just a little bit fast with it, but that could have just been me.
All right. That took a lot of finishing passes. Oh my God. I didn't even mill this aluminum, but it just deforms like foil. But I think this is gonna be my ticket. Fits pretty darn well. I'll take it. Tomorrow I'll make 2 more of these now that I know kind of what I'm doing and mill the other 2 out. Another day, another thing to mill. All right, let's load this up and see how it goes. Look at that magnet picking up all the steel and neodymium. This is going well, surprisingly well. That
gonna jinx
looks
it.
great. This is really coming out well. I'm gonna clean this up a little bit under the microscope. For now, I'm gonna get to milling that 3rd section. 3rd and final section on the right. I did the test milling, it looks okay. And we'll do it for real, fingers crossed. 3rd one is done. That inside edge there is pretty sweet. I think the next thing is to do a test fitting here over on my electronics bench. So let's see how these batteries fit.
I wish I had that much of a workspace.
And this one.
I'd do so much better tinkering if I had more workspace.
And this one.
That's the only
Perfect.
reason I haven't gotten a
The next
CNC
thing I
and done
wanna
with 3D
do
printers and a bunch
Is I
of
want to
other
put the
stuff.
hinges back in here and see how that all fits together. Moment of truth. It folds. Okay, so this goes first, and then that one folds. We're getting there. We gotta get this battery to fit. So I gotta cut a section out of the hinge. Can I mark that? Take that hinge back out. I'm gonna remove these screws and see what's going on with this hinge. The section we need to remove is right here. Oh my God, look at that. That is crazy. Well, I definitely need to just cut the plastic here, I think. There we go. Oh, that doesn't have a spring in it. Oh, we'll see. Oh no. Yeah, this is just floppy.
That's what she said.
Okay, this is rubbing. Yeah, that hinge is not working so well anymore. That's a problem.
Yeah, that's the
I mean, it
problem
still
with
folds.
tinkering like this.
I think we just forge ahead. Onward. This is the still intact phone. I am going to take this apart, try not to break it, reassemble it with the Honor batteries. Okay. Super tight. Okay. Batteries are out. I need to take this screen off, put it on the modified phone, move the batteries over, and button things up. I have 30 minutes before I need to leave for the airport.
Leave again.
There it is. I'm not gonna fuck with it anymore. We're just gonna assemble it now. For all the marbles. Oh, thank God. All right, moment of truth. Whoa! Oh! Sort of.
Oh!
I don't understand what's happening with these screens. I don't get it. But it works. It turns on.
You
What
fucked
the
up
hell?
the screen.
Why are these screens so damn fragile?
They're folding
I thought I
screens.
did a good job on that one. All right, it's booting. We're just gonna button this up. It goes here. done, it fits. And I have 15 minutes to get the hell out of here. There it is. Just put a little bit of tape to hold that in place. And we will worry about gluing it later. Not too bad.
I'll see you in Barcelona.
Welcome to Barcelona to Mobile World Congress, one of the largest trade shows for mobile phones. This phone now has 71% more battery capacity. The volume of the batteries is definitely larger, but if they were the exact same size as the original batteries, they would have 38% more capacity. Silicon carbon batteries are clearly the way of the future, and Honor is the clear leader in this space with the newly announced high silicon content at 32% silicon. But what's different about these batteries, and why does it matter? To be clear, these are still lithium-ion batteries, but with an important twist. Lithium-ion batteries are limited by the amount of lithium that can bind to the graphite anodes, which is one of the two electrodes. There's an anode and a cathode in a battery. Silicon can hold way more than graphite without increasing the size or the weight of the battery. It can store 10 times more lithium than graphite. Now, the obvious question is, why wouldn't you go to 100% silicon? There's a problem. Silicon expands a lot when charged, which causes the battery to swell, and it introduces really intense mechanical stress, which destabilizes the electrode structure and causes it to break apart. So you have to do something to mitigate that. One of the big ways is by adding carbon, which stabilizes the whole structure. Now, Honor is using chemical vapor deposition to get tiny spheres of silicon that are nearly perfectly round. And that means that when the silicon expands, it expands uniformly, which helps the structure as well. The batteries that I use actually have 25% silicon, which is an industry first. Competitors are at like 16%. However, this new Honor silicon carbon blade battery, which they're putting into the Chinese version of the Magic V6 phone, has a whopping 32% carbon. The overseas version is the version that I use with the 25% carbon. The Magic V6 battery for the overseas version are 921 watt hours per liter, which is a new metric for me, but it basically is how dense are the batteries. The China version is 985 watt hours per liter. Most high-end lithium-ion batteries are in the range of like 700 watt hours per liter. Honor has also improved the puncture resistance of their batteries by 40%. Also, they have the first cathode material to reach 4.75 volts, which again further increases the amount that the battery can store. They also have greater stability under high temperatures, which is obviously super important. Now, why does any of this matter? The battery is the single largest component in phones. Phones are continually getting more energy hungry, particularly with on-device AI, and companies are always trying to shrink down the other components of the phone to make more space for the battery. But as a consumer, I want a slim, small phone that fits in my pocket. I'm sure you do too. Simply said, battery capacity is hard to increase. It really hasn't increased that much over, say, the past 10 years. So making
10 years, more like 20.
This big, 38%, it's pretty incredible. Now, there's lots of other really interesting battery chemistry. Lithium-ion isn't the only game in town, but most of those battery chemistries are still really experimental, or they have significant problems that prevent them from being productionized into consumer electronics. And so Honor productionizing silicon carbon batteries and actually putting it in a shipping phone that lasts a long time is really hard. I'm just super impressed. I'm very thankful that they sponsored this video. This has been a super fun project, and it's really cool to be on the bleeding edge of smartphone technology and get to be one of the first people to get hands-on with it. And speaking of which, they have a bunch of really cool stuff here to show off at Mobile World Congress. They have a robot phone that has a multi-axis camera gimbal built into it that unfolds from the back of the phone.
Wait, what?
Super cool. And then a bipedal robot that's been walking around, as well as the Magic V6.
I need that phone for my content.
The world's thinnest folding phone. It's a two-part phone. Folded up, it's thinner than my iPhone 16 Pro Max. Actually, I'm really interested to try carrying on a day-to-day basis. Like, I could see myself using this phone. If you want to learn more, go to honor.com, and I'll see you again soon. And if you see me here at Mobile World Congress, come say hi. I'll talk to you soon.
It'll be interesting to see that battery tech come out more and more over time. But yeah, let's see. What's up next? Okay, so We got the lawn TV. Okay, so this is about the California Linux age verification. I actually made a YouTube video talking all about this, so I think I've made enough points about that in that YouTube video. We can talk more about that if y'all want, but I think I've covered a lot of the points already with that. I talked about the Colorado one. It's also come to my attention since I was told about all these things happening. I was told by a friend that this is also happening, I think, in Brazil, if I remember correctly. But yeah, and then possible U.S. government iPhone hacking toolkit is now in the hands of foreign spies and criminals. Imagine that! This is why I tell people all the time, there's no such thing as a backdoor or a tool only for the good guys. Because the problem is, eventually, it will find its way in the hands of the bad guys. We saw this happen with the NSA toolkits and everything, happening. Of course, I can't read this because apparently it's my last free article, but this is not shocking at all. I guess the advice that we can give you is put your iPhone in lockdown mode if you're that worried about it. When I travel, I put my phone in lockdown mode. It does restrict some abilities, like you don't get previews on images and videos, I think, and certain things like that, but yeah. And then let's see what's this. We have Donut Labs Test 2 from 2-Bit Da Vinci. Keep meaning to subscribe to his stuff.
Donut Lab just released their second independent battery test. They heated their cells to 100 degrees Celsius and discharged it. And the numbers don't make sense. Not because the battery failed. It didn't. It actually gained capacity. The problem is that what we found in this data contradicts both sides of the debate. The people who think it's a fraud and the people who think it's revolutionary. We went through every data point, calculated things that aren't in the report, and compared this cell against every commercial battery we could find. And then we went further. We pulled published research papers and dug into the company's own supply chain. And what we found took us to some genuinely interesting places. Let's figure this out together. I'm Ricky, and this is 2-Bit Da Vinci. This video is brought to you by Incogni. So if you're new here, Donut Lab is a Estonian-Finnish startup claiming that they've built a solid-state lithium-free battery that charges in 5 minutes and lasts 100,000 cycles. Oh, and it hits a 400 watt-hour per kilogram of energy density. If true, your EV would charge faster than you can pump gas. In our last video, we analyzed their first test.
That'd be amazing if true.
Finland's National Research Center, and found that their cell voltage fingerprint matches NMC lithium ion almost exactly, 3.5 volts average discharge. Now test 2 is out. Same lab, same equipment, but this time they cranked the temperatures to 80 degrees Celsius and then 100 degrees. One thing to keep in mind, VTT tested what Donut Lab gave them, following Donut's test plan, right? They're not out to prove anything or disprove anything. Donut Lab is a customer who asked to do these tests, and they did the tests. VTT tested a single cell, labeled DL2, sitting in a climate chamber with a 2.4 kilogram steel plate on top. And now that's for pressure. We calculated it to be around 0.0009 megapascals. Real solid-state batteries need between 1 and 70 megapascals to make sure that there's good contact on the interfaces of the solid-state electrolyte. That's not what was happening here. This is very, very low amounts of pressure, just to, in their words, keep from any hot spots from being formed on the battery during testing. The same cell was used for every test. First, a baseline discharge at room temperature, a full 24.9 amp hours was pumped in. Then they heated the climate chamber to 80 degrees Celsius and let the cell soak for 2 full hours and discharged it at 1C. The cell delivered 27.5 amp hours. That's 110% of its room temperature capacity. It got better when it was hotter. Then the same cell was charged back up at room temperature, heated to 100 degrees Celsius for 2 hours while fully charged, and discharged again. And 27.6 amp hours came out, 107% of the initial reference input.
That math ain't mathin'.
The 100C test was at 0.5C, half the charge rate of the 80-degree test. So those two numbers aren't directly comparable, and it's interesting and worthy of note. Why they didn't do 1C at 100 degrees? I'm not sure. But it still beat room temperature input by a lot. After the 100C test, the pouch had lost its vacuum. It's visibly puffed in the VTT photos. And this actually makes sense mechanically. Standard pouch laminate uses a polyolefin adhesive to bond the aluminum layers to the inner polypropylene. The adhesive melts around 85.4 degrees Celsius, so at 100 degrees Celsius, you'd expect the seal to be compromised. And it was.
Yeah.
And Donut Labs actually calls this out. They make a point to note this.
We can see that the active materials are still fine because the cell operates normally, even though the outside pouch has lost its vacuum in the heat.
Now, think about what that means. If this was a conventional lithium-ion cell with standard liquid electrolyte, a pouch breach at 100 degrees Celsius would be dangerous. The organic solvents in lithium-ion electrolytes are flammable. DMC is one of the most common ones, boils at 90 degrees Celsius. So now you have flammable vapors, oxygen in the air, and 100 degree Celsius temperatures. That's the fire triangle. The cell would probably catch fire, melt down, or at minimum be completely destroyed. But VTT charged it back normally, and the cell still worked. This tells us something fundamental about what's inside the cell. Either there's no flammable liquid electrolyte in there, or it's something very different from our standard lithium-ion chemistries. This is the kind of amazing engineering that keeps me up at night. And something else that keeps me up at night is protecting my personal information online, and why I'm a huge fan of our sponsor this week, Incogni. Information...
You know what keeps me up at night? The fact that he changed his t-shirt with a jump cut. Okay, anyway, moving on. He's doing his Incogni bit. Okay.
Same. I signed up with Incogni. It's protecting feature. Handles. Companies having I want to take % off. If you're thinking any battery today, huge thanks to Incogni and you. Now back to the show. Now, if you're thinking any battery delivers more capacity when it's hot because there's lower internal resistance and ions move faster, that's basic Arrhenius kinetics. You're right. That's not special in and of itself. So we try to find a single commercial NMC battery cell from Samsung, LG, CATL, really anyone, with published discharge rates over 80 degrees Celsius.
Okay.
And we couldn't find a single one.
Interesting.
Because, well, they don't test in that kind of regime. Samsung's maximum rated discharge temperature is 60 degrees Celsius. Most manufacturers cap at 45 degrees. The closest study we could find was from Jalkanen and colleagues, a commercial Kokum 40 amp hour NMC pouch cell that cycled at elevated temperatures. At 65 degrees Celsius, the cell was destroyed. The donut cell delivered 110 capacity at ADC and kept going to 100. We can't even...
I mean, it makes sense, because, I mean, in most cases, your average electronic isn't going to push past 60. But yeah.
Find published data for what happens to a normal NMC cell at these temperatures, because manufacturers don't really test there. It's too dangerous. But there's more. We calculated the Coulombic efficiency for every cycle. That's the ratio of charge out versus charge in, one of the most diagnostic measurements of battery science. At room temperature, it was 99.82%. At 80 degrees Celsius, it dropped to 99.18%. Expected, more side reactions when it's hot. But then after 80 degree exposure back to room temperatures, the efficiency recovered to 99.88.
Wait, what?
They charged it always at room temperature, discharged at full, and then back down. So we can compare the Coulombic efficiencies to see if there's any degradation going on. If the electrolyte were being irreversibly damaged by the heat, which would absolutely be the case in a normal NMC cell, the number should go down, not up. Something about this cell's chemistry allows it to recover from thermal stress. And the internal resistance, it dropped 18% from room temperature to 80 degrees Celsius. Sounds pretty normal, except conventional NMC with liquid electrolytes typically show a 40% drop over that range. So the internal resistance drop is less than what you would expect from a traditional battery. So that might suggest that this is not a liquid electrolyte behavior and that there might be some other ion transport mechanism at play. So at this point in our research, we had 3 anomalies that didn't fit conventional NMC, and that sent us down some rabbit holes. Donut Lab claims their battery is lithium-free. Everyone, including us, dismissed this because of that 3.5 volt average discharge, which is textbook NMC, from test 1. Sodium-ion batteries typically run at 2.8 to 3.1 volts, which is not even close. So I was curious. Let's take them for their word and assume that this is lithium-free. What could it be then? Our first lead was a cathode called NVPF, sodium vanadium fluorophosphate. We found a paper published in Nature Communications, which showed a full cell average discharge around 3.5 volts, which fit. But it fell apart really quickly because NVPF has a very distinctive 2-plateau discharge curve, 2 clear voltage steps that you couldn't miss, and we don't see in this curve from Donut's tests. And NVPF's best commercial cell from a French company called Tiamat averages 105 watt-hours per kilogram. Donut's claim of 400 is nearly 4 times that. So I think that's out. But here's where things got interesting, because while NVPF didn't fit, we found something else that does. There's a class of sodium ion cathode layered oxide, similar to what CATL uses in their sodium ion batteries, that produces a smooth discharge curve almost identical to NMC. And the high voltage variance of these layered oxides, published research shows a full cell average of around 3.5 to 3.56 volts, and the discharge profiles match as well. So then we looked at the thermal data through the sodium ion lens, and everything clicks. Sodium ion batteries are inherently more thermally stable than lithium.
Yeah, it makes
Thermal
sense.
runaway thresholds are around 135 to 165 degrees C, way higher than NMC. Published research shows sodium ion cells exceeding 100% capacity at 80 C. A paper in Anjawante Chemie demonstrated a sodium ion cell operating from 70 to 100 degrees Celsius. And here's the kicker. Sodium ion SEI starts decomposing right around 98 degrees. And we know what happened to the donut cell at 100 degrees, right? The pouch lost its vacuum and opened. So that may or may not fit, but maybe they squeezed out a couple more degrees and were able to test. There's probably a reason why they picked 100 degrees Celsius as their cap, and this might work. But then we went to Nordic Nano's website. Nordic Nano is the company behind Donut Labs battery materials and manufacturing. And right there on their technology page, they describe their materials as, quote, carbon nanotubes coated with titanium oxide and a sodium electrolyte.
Wait, what?
Sodium, not lithium. And titanium oxide is a well-known anode material for sodium ion research. Combined with carbon nanotube conductive networks and a sodium conducting salt electrolyte,
I haven't seen carbon nanotubes being used in production.
What we're seeing.
In consumer stuff.
The smooth voltage curve, the thermal stability, the capacity gains at 80 C, and the gas generation at 100 C. The fact that it works at room temperature, and the fact that there's no liquid electrolyte to burn. So now, does this prove that it's sodium ion? Absolutely not. I'm just spitballing here of how we could square this circle, right? And we got to be honest about this, because if this was a sodium ion battery at 400 watt hours per kilogram, that would be more than double the best sodium ion cell ever made. CATL's Naxtra, which again we covered in Shanghai, which is 175 watt hours per kilogram. That gap is just enormous. And the voltage curve, while consistent with layered oxide sodium, it's also consistent with NMC lithium ion cells as well. So we can't really distinguish from this data alone. But for the first time in this investigation, we have a lithium-free hypothesis where the pieces could fit. So coming back from speculation then, here's what the evidence stands at after 2 VTT tests and 13 total cycles. There's a lot that's genuinely impressive, and credit has to be given where it's due. This cell sat fully charged at 100 C for 2 hours, lost its seal, and still worked. No commercial cell we've ever found has done that. It fast charged at 11 C in test 1, matching CATL's best. The energy efficiency actually improved at higher temperatures. Even the most skeptical take would be that this is a damn impressive cell. But there's still a lot to be determined. We've done 2 tests now, and the cell still hasn't been weighed. Weighing a cell takes 10 seconds, and it would give us an instant confirmation of that 400 watt hour per kilogram claim. They also never charged at high temperatures, only discharged. Every charge happened at room temperature. And that matters because charging is far more stressful on the electrolyte than discharging.
Right.
Higher voltage plus higher temperatures causes electrolyte oxidation in the cathode.
I mean, even with my solar node outside in the yard, it can't charge below 0 C, but it could discharge below 0 C. I know it's the reciprocal of what he's talking about, but yeah, charging is a lot more stressful on the battery, and there's a reason why you had to get a cutoff below 0 C, because you could potentially damage the battery. But yeah.
This cell is truly solid state. Charging at 80 C should be easy, but the fact that they didn't test that, I think is interesting. And here's something no one's talking about yet. After the 100 C test, VTT charged the cell back up, proving that it still accepts charge. But they never did a reference discharge back at room temperature. So all we know is that it charges after the 100 C event, not that it discharges. So as a result, we don't know about that 100,000 cycle claim either. What happens after 50 cycles at 80 C? Published research shows NMC cells lose nearly 40% capacity in just 2 cycles at 100 C.
Jeez.
Would this cell survive that? We'll have to wait and see. But we do know that they sent 3 cells to VTT. DL1 was tested in test 1. DL2 for temperatures here in this test. And DL3 is coming up. So we know there's at least one more test coming up next week. If the pattern holds, we saw test 1 charging, test 2 high temps. Maybe the next test is a cold test at negative 30 degrees Celsius. Now that test would actually be even more revealing because sodium ion cells struggle below negative 20 and PEO solid state doesn't work in the cold at all. A cell that genuinely works from negative 30 to 100 would narrow down what it could possibly be, and it would be even more impressive. And one more thing. Verge Motorcycles, Donut Lab's first customer, promised production vehicles with these batteries by the end of the month. Now that deadline has already slipped to April. New orders pushed back to Q4. Now, if that's a scaling issue or a technology issue, I guess we'll have to wait and find out. Okay, now there's way more data in this report than we could possibly fit in one video. So we extracted every single number from this report, every metric that we could find, and put it into a spreadsheet. And if you want to see the full thing, check out below. We'll have a link to our newsletter. All you gotta do, join the newsletter, and the next issue will have a link to that full report. So you can see every single thing that we saw. But I gotta tell you, these guys have just captured our imaginations. And weekly tests every Monday. I was up at 7 a.m. ready to go, excited. This is a really interesting moment. Now, what I want to know from you guys, for especially anybody in the industry or who knows battery chemistry, what do you think it is? Tell us, what are we missing? What could this be? Are these tests leading us to some kind of a conclusion? Sound off in the comments below. And again, don't forget to like and subscribe. Only 20% of you guys that watch our videos are subscribed. So hit that subscribe button, hit the bell icon, because we will cover this story entirely as news breaks, and we'll keep it all coming. All right, I'm Ricky TubeDaVinci.
That's interesting. I'll be curious to see what they come up with. Okay, next thing is FBI discusses the potential to use AI to hack targets. So we've already discussed this a little bit. This is for paid members. I'm not a paid member, 404 right now. But this is not anything new that we haven't discussed already. I've talked about how AI is going to make not only defense and cybersecurity a little bit more efficient, provided you know how to actually use it and you're not, vibe coding your way through things, but it's going to make penetration testing and malicious cybersecurity a little bit more achievable, which is why y'all should be up in your defense game. Like, I'm building my home lab. I'm micro-segmenting my entire network. I'm, planning to do 802.1x. I've got EDRs. I've got, threat detection and response. I've got playbooks I'm building out with a SOAR and everything. So, yeah. It's going to be an interesting world that you're going to have to stay on your toes and learn about a lot of this stuff. For the new people coming out, it's going to be a steep ramp for y'all to learn. Put it the least. Yeah, and then let's see. Vampire has this video out here from the Tiki Talkies. What's this? Google opt-out feature lets users protect privacy by moving to remote... Oh, it's The Onion.
How to grow food, suture wounds, and bury corpses by hand if they plan to opt out. And Google has gone the extra mile to ensure that users who choose to opt out are given complete privacy in their new home. A 30-foot-tall, 10-foot-thick physical data security wall keeps all former Google users from leaving the village until they decide they want to start using Google again.
The opt-out village can't even be seen by Google satellites because the entire town is enclosed with a large metal box with no openings.
Google says those wishing to opt back into using Google after their time in the village will be allowed to do so if they agree to be branded with a whimsical G on their foreheads to label them doubters.
If you don't want to give us complete access to your most private thoughts and feelings, that's fine. You can just toil in the hinterlands and die young.
The
Onion's like one of those prophetic news sites. Before you know it, it'll actually be a thing. Kara shared this. Fake LastPass emails pose as password vault backup alerts. LastPass's warning of a new phishing campaign disguised as a maintenance notification from the service asking users to back up their vaults in the next 24 hours. So same old, same old. Do not click the link. Pretty straightforward. Plays on urgency. You click the thing, it compromises you. Pretty straightforward. Oh, and then we have this one. Vampire put it on the Discord as a video saying the One Piece is real.
The One Piece is actually real! celebration of One Piece surpassing 600 million copies sold, they just released this brand new video. In it, they show Oda working at his desk. What do you think he's doing at that desk? He is writing down what the One Piece is on a piece of paper. For the first time ever, it has been inscribed. Then he put that piece of paper into a sealed treasure chest. And what do they do with this treasure chest? They toss it into the bottom of the ocean. So yes, I will say it again. The One Piece is real and you can find it.
All right, chat. So we're going to build a submarine, right? We're going to find the One Piece. So who's part of my crew?
Now, I don't think that they're gonna make this easy for us, because obviously that would be a very bad business move, but they showed this map. Now, I don't think it means anything, but hey, it could be a clue. They're being very vague about the time. Like, they just say local time instead of a time zone, whereas earlier when we're in Oda's office, they just say 1:32 p.m. I think this is genuinely the coolest thing ever. Just knowing that I could go out there, find a boat, become my own pirate, I can be Luffy! All of those jokes about you and your friends going out there to find the One Piece, well, now it can actually happen! Oh, fuck! All the boats are being sold! Everyone's getting the same idea! Quick, go buy a boat! Okay, guys, who wants to be my nakama? Follow me! And that's it!
But seriously, who wants to be on my crew? Okay. Trying a vibe-coded operating system. Good God, somebody made a vibe-coded operating system. If you were to read the README of the Vibe OS project on GitHub, you'd see it advertised as a Unix-like OS that was written from scratch, runs on ARM64 and x86-64, and comes with full GUI, networking, and even full Doom game support. Unfortunately, what you're seeing there isn't the beginnings of a new promising OS that might go toe-to-toe with the likes of Linux or Haiku, but rather a vibe-coded confabulation trying to actually use the OS, as Termid recently did, sends you down a vibe-coded rabbit hole of broken code, more bugs than you can shake a bug zapper at, and most of the promised features being completely absent. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. Like, look, I'm using AI to fix a lot of my different things, but like I've said before, if you don't conceptually know what the hell you're doing, you will make absolute garbage, and it will not work well. Building a new house with people who understand WTF. It's called Windows. Yeah, Windows is the vibe-coded OS. But yeah, like, if you look at a lot of my projects, you can tell, like, yeah, I've used AI to write a lot of it, but I actually know what I'm doing, and I've had to steer it in the right directions. But if you let AI do what it, like, will do, want to do, it'll come up with some absolute bullshit that'll be broken and not work right. I've seen it happen all the time. Alright. Let's see. Vampire has some videos over here.
You need to start
from UFD Tech on TikTok. Because for some reason, I don't know, they like blocked me on TikTok, which is kind of funny. Because they're a tech creator, so I don't know, maybe they like said something and I happen to just like have an opinion that they didn't agree with and just block. I don't know. That happens like with a few tech creators, but it's like, you just disagree with them, or they're factually wrong on something. I don't know. I don't care.
Prepare for Windows 12. More and more details are coming out about the next OS from Microsoft that's codenamed Hudson Valley Next, and as you would expect, it's going to be AI-based. Most of the details indicate that the AI experience that everyone is complaining about in 11 is going to be the foundation of what 12 is built upon, and it's going to have even more strict hardware requirements than what...
So get on to Linux, guys!
Prevented people from upgrading to 11. Allegedly, a pretty decent NPU is going to be a necessary component as part of your PC setup, which...
Wait, you need an NPU, you need a neural processing unit for Windows 12. There's no reason you need an NPU. Microsoft flop is catching fire viral. Yeah, Microsoft has been catching issues for a long time. Like, it's to the point where it's now mainstream that enough people are unironically wanting to actually try Linux out and move to Linux. Like, it is interesting to see how, in a matter of a few years, people were making fun of me and other people for wanting to use Linux, and Linux is never going to be a thing, to how do I start using Linux? And I've actually had enough normies actually come to me and say, you know what? I'm tired of Microsoft enough that I'm going to give up some video games and just be able to forego the rootkit, you know, the what do you call it? The kernel level anti-cheat. So that way I can just not have to deal with Microsoft stuff. Like, Microsoft has really shot themselves in the foot. You got a Bazite last night, and I love it. Nice. I haven't really used Bazite. I hear people like it. If it works for you, great. I've got, you know, my workflow that works for me. But cool. I'm glad they're happy.
Which is realistically only CPUs that have been released in the last couple of years. You ready for the worst part? Subscription model. The report indicates that certain parts of your operating system will be locked behind a monthly paywall. It's spun as advanced AI features being unlocked, but if Microsoft's current thrusting of AI into everyone's faces is any indication, they'll make sure you'll know you're missing out on these things. Timeline is that an announcement is incoming later this year, 5 years since 11 was introduced to the world. So, you need to start preparing for Windows 12, probably by getting comfortable with Linux or buying up a used MacBook.
Come to the dark side. We have penguins, red lightsabers, and cookies. Trying to find the driver for fprint driver, but got bus error reactivate. What? There would need to be a distro that is essentially no terminal to be user-friendly enough. Every distro is essentially no terminal nowadays. Ever heard of Android? Chrome OS? You can run Linux now without a terminal. Using a terminal just makes it easier. In the same way that a lot of the people that are making the argument about, oh, well, you know, if you use Windows and you debloat it, with all these registry hacks and running these programs and running these commands, end up having to use PowerShell and registry editor, find out, oh, yeah, huh. Look, you can do everything in Pop! OS without a terminal. I mean, you can just, you know, install your apps with the Pop Shop if you really want. You can do your updates through it. A lot of distributions have gone that way. But like I said, whether you're on Windows, Mac, or Linux, using the terminal makes a lot of things easier. It really does. There's a lot of times where I'm on Windows and I'm just like, you know what? Instead of going through this menu and burying for find this one option, I'm just going to run this one command in PowerShell. Is the Pop Shop basically Flatpak? I use Fedora, so I'm not familiar with Pop. It's a little bit of combination. So if you open up the Pop Shop, you can actually choose. So, give me 1 second. I'm just going to reopen it here. There we go. So, I'll just go to search for Steam. So if you go to Steam, you can actually choose Flatpak or Debian. So as you can see, I have the Flatpak version, but you can just install the Debian version there. You just have to select the dropdown. So Pop Shop is both apt, it is your Debian package manager, and Flatpak manager built into one. So when you do updates through the Pop Shop, it is both doing updates through apt and Flatpak. I don't know if you saw Linus Tech Tips video. He had a hard time with Pop! OS. Linus Tech Tips would have a tough time with a toaster oven. Okay? Which video? Because, like, I know he's had a few videos. There was the one where he, like, effed up because he did the major no-no, which doesn't matter if you're on Mac, Windows, or Linux, and he just started using the operating system without doing updates. And then something broke. Yeah, there was a bug, but that bug was fixed in the updates. Like, look, I think it's kind of obvious, and I say this as someone that used to be a fan and used to have a lot of respect for Linus and watched him back in the NCIX Tech Tips days. I really don't, care for his content anymore. Like, the guy he's been very fortunate, very lucky, and successful, but he plateaued his knowledge and then just kind of coasted on it, and the world has moved on. But he himself has not leveled up, that he basically, like, kept that level of knowledge from, like, the 2010s, from what it feels like, where the rest of his audience kind of moved on mostly into tech careers and kind of looked at his content and like, dude, you just kind of, like, never grew up. I mean, again, no hate to the dude. I'm glad that he made the success that he did, but he's also made some really serious blunders. Like, how many times did his enterprise get compromised from a malicious PDF? Not even a Jeffrey Epstein PDF. I mean a straight-up Adobe Acrobat PDF. The dude literally got caught butt naked with his pants down when his website got compromised, streaming Elon Musk stuff, scam stuff. Do you remember that? Why? Because he didn't incorporate some very basic cybersecurity. 18 times JK. But that's the point that I mean, is like, there's been a lot of times where he should have realized that he's no longer a small mom and pop business, and he should have been treating it like an enterprise, and he's never properly invested in that. And he has the connections with people like Wendell from Level 1 Techs. You know, I have immense respect and, admiration for Wendell from Level 1 Techs. I love that dude and his content. And, he knows his shit. And if Wendell and I ever got in a room, I can definitely tell. He and I could go back and forth and, conversations about all sorts of shit, that would be a really fun time. I wouldn't even need to be on camera. That'd just be a fun time to have a drink with the dude and hang out. He will never learn. No, he will never learn, him being Linus. But Wendell, like, I still watch that dude, and I feel like I learn a lot from this dude, and I've learned more from him throughout the course of my career, and I feel like there's still a lot that I am learning from him. And Wendell has actually been a huge inspiration for me making a lot of my own content and how I try to present things, but of course I take my own spin on it and things like that. He's the one that got me deeper into Linux and, to the ways that I do and why I home lab the way that I do. And you'll see when I have my YouTube video going deep into the Grafana dashboards and everything that I've been doing. There's a lot of stuff that I've been making. I have a video talking about the Unify Polar one, which I have to edit that video. I'll probably have that out next week, where I'll be talking about how you can track Unify metrics even better, but yeah. Anyway. The point being I was trying to get at is Linus, Sebastian. I kind of lost respect for the dude many years ago in just like a professional capacity. That is what it is. Because, like, there's just been so many blunders where I've seen his content and I've, like, tried to give him so many chances and I'm like, dude, come on, you should know better than this. But like you said, Vampire, he will never learn from it. And look, I will admit, I don't know everything. But yeah.
That 3D printer is about to become illegal in an act of...
Oh, is this about the Washington Post, all that? Failing is content, though. Oh, yeah. Live stream fails and, epic fails and all that. Great content.
Security theater that any technically thoughtful person can see through. Multiple states in the US are working on legislation that would restrict these plastic goop groupers in the name of preventing illicitly printed firearms from coming onto the market. Washington, New York, and now California all have bills in the works that would wreck your ability to just use your printer. But California takes things a step even further.
Okay, what did California do?
Their bill would make it so that purchasing or transferring a non-state sanctioned FDM device would be completely illegal. Every company that wants to sell their printer in the state would have to be registered with the Department of Justice.
Brother, what's that?
God damn it. I mean, these guys are morons. They do realize that we can make our own 3D printers from parts. So what are they going to do about the people that buy all the parts to make their own 3D printer? Are they going to make it illegal to manufacture a 3D printer?
Less than that, if you try to install open source third-party firmware onto your own product, that would be classified as skirting the law and be a misdemeanor.
So you build your own 3D printer, it's now skirting the law. Great. Well, fuck you, California. You're trying to make me have to put an ID, basically, verification into my operating system, and now you don't want me to 3D print shit.
There's a lot in these bills that make little practical sense, don't actually protect against the thing they're seeking to prevent, but thankfully, they're not laws yet. So if you have a printer, want a printer, or just care about sensible legislation and live in these states, there's time to still speak up and contact your representative.
That's about all you can do. As I keep telling y'all, if you're affected by one of these states, go contact your representative. But also, you should be involved in your own politics to be aware of what's going on in your background. Which is why, over in our channel over here, we have the legislation trackers. So we, at least at the federal level, have bill trackers built into Penguin Overlord, so you can tell every single bill that is going on in the US government, the EU legislation, and the UK legislation. So we've at least done that. I may eventually work on the state level ones, but that's going to take some effort. I'm going to have to deal with like 50 states, and then individual countries. I may have to recruit people to contribute code for that one. But there'll probably be some role reactions I'll set up for these ones over time. I'm getting to be a lot of features with Penguin Overlord that it's going to have to be a thing. But yeah. Anyway. Back to where we were with the videos.
All right, you can put down your pitchforks and Linux install USB. Windows 12 was a massive false alarm. People across the internet got immediately ready to switch over to any other operating system possible once reports of Hudson Valley Next, the alleged codename for 12, cropped up. Turns out the very thing that people hate about Microsoft's latest work is what led to the fake rumors. AI. AI reports were generated about the fact that the new Windows was going to get announced later this year and be AI from the ground up with monthly paywalls to access certain advanced AI features. The AI generated rumors weren't enough to get mainstream attention until a major publication ran the story. And because that was a respected institution,
oh no!
On the story, including me. The original article had
PC World's gonna be in hot water. This is where, you know, like, you're gonna have to double check your sources.
Has been repealed, and PC World said that it was a translation of a German article and it should have never been published. So, no Windows 12 to worry about this year. Just the normal enslopification of 11. Still, maybe you have that Ubuntu download or pre-order of the MacBook Neo ready to go anyways.
Think Ubuntu complied with the verification law. Yeah, well, the reality is, I'm not surprised that they would do it. They don't have quite the resources. What surprises me more is that Microsoft and Apple just laid down and just said they'll take it up the butt, and did it anyway. Okay, so, moving on. Norwegian government comes out swinging on inshitification.
Hey everybody, how's it going? Hope you're having a lovely day. Back in the day, we had innovation.
This is Louis Rossman,
you went
obviously.
From black and white TV to a color TV. You went from VHS to Super VHS. Now we have enshittification, which is where you take something that people already had and you find a new and inventive way to turn it into.
Does he have the same earbuds I do? Huh!
Into a subscription or lock it behind something to extract more
I
money.
used
out
the
of people
time will
without
say
providing them
ease
with a better
by
service. And this video from the Norwegian Consumer Council just came out swinging on the entire thing. And because DMA has not won his case yet, because there is no precedent that me using YTDLP or a screen capture software to show you a piece of somebody else's video is not something that's going to get me wiped off of YouTube, I thought that I would just strike while the iron is hot and show you this video and tell you why I think that the Norwegian Consumer Council is awesome.
You can call me a shitmaker. End up running for office one day.
My job is to make things shitty. The official title is enshittificator. What I do is I take things that are perfectly fine.
I may want to run for office one day, but I also hate politics.
More specifically, I make it shitty. I come from a long line of people making things shitty. My father was an enshittificator, his father before him, and his father before him. So yeah, it's a proud tradition in our family, making things shitty. But it is hard work, and it's not very cost efficient to do it like this. I can only be in so many places at one time. So I needed a way to scale up the business without working myself to death. And just when I needed it, the solution lands right in my lap. Enter the internet. All of a sudden, I didn't have to move around to make things shitty. I could just stay in one place and make things shitty for way more people at the same time. And that's when things really started to move. Got a favorite website? Let's fill it with pop-ups. Preferably scam. Enjoying a video? Oopsie! Ad break. Oh, you bought an expensive phone? Great. Here's an update. Make it shitty. Let's say you have 1,000 pictures of your deceased mother. Oh, so sad. What do? I make you pay for it. The memories may be yours, but the photos, they're mine. So it's very important. It needs to be nice at first. But then... Yes. What do you say? Okay. Woo! That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. Woohoo! Finally. You're not happy with the way something you really liked turns shitty. What do? Contact customer service. Here, talk to completely useless chatbot. No human
I always knew it was a person typing that.
Here's my favorite part. Let's say someone starts an alternative service. What do? We buy them.
Syntax.
Make people dependent enough, and then...
Make it shitty!
You. Sell me a car.
Well, it's great.
Sold.
Throw
I'll
back
buy
to
a car.
Leonardo DiCaprio,
Now what?
Wolf of Wall Street.
I don't have any more money. You have me in the palm of your hand. You can crush me. So what do? Updates. Radio, premium feature. Heating, premium feature. Now I have a shitty car and I can't afford a new one. But what I can afford is a small monthly payment. Make it shitty! The future future is looking bright.
Breaking is now a premium feature. Please enter your credit card details.
This is fucking brilliant.
I love that ad.
Breaking free pathways to a fair technological future, the Norwegian Consumer Council has delved into the inshitification and how to resist it. The report shows how this phenomenon affects both consumers and society at large, but that is possible to turn a tide. Together with more than 70 consumer groups and other actors in Europe and the US, we are sending a letter to policymakers in the EU, United Kingdom, US, and Electronic Arts.
European Economic Area.
Well, I'm
cultured!
Really, I got a New York City public education. I'm lucky I can read. My nonprofit tries to push back against abusive laws that say...
Hey, Lewis, I had public education too. But you know what I did? I spent some spare time at the library. Another public service. Just saying. No hate.
That you don't own what you bought and paid for, such as Section 1201 of the DMCA, Fulu Foundation. I've been working on this for a very long time. And one of the things that I found great about this is that a lot of the programs that we're running now, one of them actually started in Norway. So there was this company called Future Home that made a thermostat that was had a lot of smart connected features. And after the company went bankrupt, the person who bought the company sent out a firmware update to everybody's device that limited functionality unless you paid them $117 a year. Fulu Foundation put out a bounty of $5,000 for the first person who freed these devices for customers, and somebody actually did come up with a solution. The person who was the CEO of the company did say that this is a criminal act, that I was suggesting that people hack into their servers, but that's not what happened at all. I was offering a bounty to people who freed your devices. If anything, you sending out a firmware update that limits functionality on a device after the sale, in my opinion, is ransomware. You're the one hacking.
I agree with that. I agree with that. That is ransomware. By definition, that is ransomware.
Your customers. I'm simply allowing them to get back access to what they bought and paid for. And I'm really happy to see that this is reaching such a critical point. We got to the front page of Wired with our bounty program. Several people have been writing about it. And what I'm really excited about is seeing the amount of people who've been contributing to our enshittification database. We have a website called consumerrights.wiki where we go over this. If there's a company that allows you to use any application you want with your exercise bicycle, and then they push a firmware update that only allows you to use it with their application and their shit has a monthly fee, we log everything here because we want to make it as easy as possible for you to have a giant list of examples with proper citations, not just some random YouTube person ranting where you have to dig through all these videos where I'm being angry and saying, hey, everybody, how's it going? And petting my cat before you can get the information. It's a very easily searchable database. So here's the olive branch I want to extend. To the people who made that video, my email address is listed down below, and I would love to work with you in any way, shape, or form. We are looking to create the best database of every company and every incident of this type of anti-ownership garbage happening, because we want to push back against it. Whether you're trying to create new policy to push back against this, or whether you're trying to remove bad old policy to push back against this, I want you to have the best digital treasure trove of every single incident so that we can make sure that this is not the future that we live in.
See, I love Lewis for this kind of stuff. I wish I had the reach that he does to be able to enact the social good that, you know, he's able to do. That's one of my goals to have one day. Look, I don't want to have a big social media following to, like, get rich or famous or anything like that. I want to have a big social media following so I can follow one of my passions, which, as you've known from following me for years, is privacy rights, right to repair, open source software, being able to, you know, fight against this enshittification stuff. Lewis and I are pretty much aligned on a lot of shit. He's one of the people that's inspired me a lot to, you know, do a lot of my content. If you notice, the vibe that I have in a lot of my videos, which is like I don't do the fritz or frills where it's like, you know, fancy editing or anything. I literally sit in front of a fucking camera most of the time, and I maybe put some pictures up, and I put it on Kaden Live with some transition effects, and, you know, tell it to you straight, and once in a while I cut in, and I tell you a no BS way with an editor's note, and I'm here to stream to you. But yeah, like, I love that ad that came on earlier. I love that ad, the enshittification ad. Like, this kind of organization, I hope there's more things like this that happen, because I think people need to rise up and understand that this is what they want to have happen to us. They want us to remain poor and extract as much money as possible from all of us, because it is essentially you will own nothing and be happy. That's the end goal. How do they do that? They have a continual revenue model. I mean, once upon a time, Adobe Photoshop used to be a few $100, and you used to be like, okay, that's an expensive thing. And then you used to look at the Adobe Creative Cloud, and you'd be like, okay, $20, $30 a month, it's still a little bit cheap. But then you look at it, and you're like, you still get F'd in the A in a different way. But you get, and now, yeah, you get the point. You get the point. It's all going to hell. That's why I'm hoping that we see more and more open source solutions and more people accepting open source, because I think as more people start accepting Linux as a mainstream option and start maining it, you're going to start seeing a lot of the trends change. Because when you are on Windows and you are on Mac, you are built into the ecosystem, especially on the Microsoft side, that you're going to have to pay for shit. Like, to the enshittification of things. And that's more and more how Microsoft is going. Apple, not as much. They're enshittified in other ways, but not nearly to the level of what Microsoft is. Like, I got a Mac, as I said earlier, for work. This isn't my personal Mac. This is a MacBook that is my work computer. I have my complaints about Mac shortcuts and things like that. Is it the worst experience? No. Is it an overpriced experience? Would I buy a Mac? No. I probably would buy a Mac Studio to do some OpenClaw things with LLM stuff and all that. That's a whole other situation. But, but the point being, I think when people start embracing open source software a little bit more, they're going to start seeing you don't have to be in that mindset. The only software I actually pay for is some security software and games. That's really the only thing I pay for. There's some security software, maybe like some services like GitHub, Copilot Pro Plus, things like that I use for developing, and all that. But you get the point that I'm saying. I haven't, had to pay for my editing software. I use Kdenlive. My photo editing I use is GIMP and Inkscape. I do use Canva for thumbnails. It is a little bit easier, so I do pay for that, but yeah.
And I would love to have as much collaboration with you as possible. I want to help you as much as possible. That's what we're here for. I want to try and get as many people putting information into this database. We're almost done with the browser extension so that when you're on a website of a company that's taking part in these practices, it'll actually inform you. You'll get a very short notification message saying what it is that that company or that product line did, and then you'll be able to click onto the website to see it. Whether we're talking about a company that disables your ability to use it with third-party apps after the sale, a television that sells your personal data, or a refrigerator that forces you into arbitration without even letting you know because they throw away all the paperwork showing you it before you ever see the device. We want to make sure that consumers are as informed as possible about these practices, and we want to push back against them as often as possible. If you're a part of the council that made that video, I would like to lend a helping hand, and I also want to work together to figure out how we can make our nonprofits database at consumerrights.wiki the best open source, open to the public database of companies that have taken part in enshittification practices and scams like this. I'm doing everything I can to push back against this in every corner where I see it. And I'm going to do my best with the team that I've assembled, but we're only a small group of people. And the only way that I'm going to be able to make serious progress on this is by partnering with other organizations and other people and other content creators that are willing to spread the word and do something about it. Consumerrights.wiki has gotten a few shouts out, and
I'd like to partner with Lewis, but I feel like I'm a very small creator. I don't know what kind of a dent I could help, but look, if anyone in my audience wants to reach out to him and, let him know I'd be ready and willing to help on any efforts on that front, I'd be willing to do so. I'm part of his, Matrix little Rossman repair group thing. I'm not too active in there, but I at least hang out in there. Maybe I should send him an email. Just at least say, hey, watch your content. You've been a big inspiration. But yeah, I mean, hey, look, if you want to tag me, you can tag me. I'm not saying, go ahead and, rate his comments, anything, be respectful. It is another person's content, but, you know, when it comes to Louis Rossmann, I've watched and I've respected this guy for years. He actually taught me a lot back when I used to do cell phone repair. Yes, I used to do cell phone repair back in the day. It's not my cup of tea, but I know how to do. I did a lot of that back in the day. But yeah, you get viral. That's the thing with TikTok followers. Doesn't mean all that much. Yeah, I mean, I got like 390,000 followers and some videos barely hit or not. That's why I'm building a YouTube following. I mean, now my YouTube's starting to get more traction, which is kind of nice, but yeah. But yeah, Louis Rossmann, immense respect for the guy. I'd love to work with him on his endeavors, because, you know, there's pretty much he and I may disagree on a few things, but let me put it this way. The things that we disagree on are so few and far between, because on the overarching points, you know, and the things that actually matter, we do agree. Rights to repair, data, privacy, the stopping of enshittification, you know, all those things that actually matter, we agree on. For experience, what is Matrix.org like as far as people who hang out there? It depends on the server that you're on. Like, I run my own server. And when I say run my own server, I don't mean in the Discord bullshit, you're really just on Discord servers in an area with your own room, basically. I run my own server. People are connecting to my own infrastructure that I am paying for. I have full control over that server. I am hosted on that server. I connect from that server. They connect to my server. So it really depends on what servers you're connecting to. Matrix.org is, of course, the largest Matrix server out there, and it depends on the server you're on there.
Really appreciate it. I got a shout out from Charlie at Penguin Zero. Got a shout out from Andy at Salem Techsperts, and that's awesome. But if we're actually going to get to the point where we have classified and categorized every single instance of every single company that's taken part in these practices, I'm going to, above all, need the help of all of you. If you see a content creator that's larger than me or smaller than me that's covering this, that's going over how you don't really know what you bought and paid for anymore, and how every company tries to change the terms of the sale after the sale, encourage them to encourage their audience to contribute that information to consumerrights.wiki. This website is not asking for your money. It's asking for your time.
Okay, as you said, bigger or smaller? I'm smaller. Consumerrights.wiki. Okay, you heard it here. Consumerrights.wiki. Look, I got plenty of people in my community that talk about the unshittification of technology all the time. So, Vampire, if you're still in the chat, or any of my mods, make a note on this. Okay, consumerrights.wiki. We're going to make that a thing. We want to make that well known, that the community can go out there and contribute to fight the enshittification of this shitty world.
This information is open. It belongs to the community. It belongs to you. The only way we're going to be able to push back against this in a strategic way is if we have every single instance of this logged in detail with citations, so that when a country's government takes notice, we can just point to it and say, here's all the information you need. Here's all the companies that have taken part in this. Go, get them. And I think that is going to be a beautiful thing. We have to do that work now, because if we wait to do that work until people say, okay, we're ready to do something, well, we're going to have 2 to 10 years of work to catch up on all at once, and I don't want to do that. I want all that work to be ready so that when that moment arrives, it's just right out there. Help me out. Let people know. Ask people to contribute to the wiki. Ask your favorite content creator when they talk about this to talk about the Consumer Rights Wiki. That's it for today, and as always, hope you learned something. See you in the next video. Bye now.
Okay. Yeah, get a glove. You don't have to ask, like, that you have questions. You can always just put them in the chat. I'll get to them, like, when I read them. Hold on, I gotta take a screenshot of some, derpy thing over here. I'm trying to fix something on the dashboard over here. I'm trying to tell the AI this part's not working. Okay. What's the next video we have over here? Not a video, another article. Google says half of all 0 days it tracked in 2025 targeted buggy enterprise tech. Oh no! Imagine that! Wanted to say I'm new to learning the Linux and coding. I really love it. How would you approach learning in 2026? Well, like anything, immerse yourself in it. Force yourself to learn it and get comfortable to it. Google any errors you come across, although these days, with Linux, Claude is very useful. Fuck ChatGPT. In fact, ChatGPT, when it comes to technical stuff, sucks. I'm gonna be honest with you. Claude is a little bit better, but Claude will be derpy too. So don't implicitly trust AI to give you the answers, but like, I can show you, like right now, I'm using Claude to troubleshoot some stuff that I'm trying to code right now with my SIEM SOAR that I'm trying to build out. I don't know, can I show you? Yeah, I can show you. Like, right now I'm trying to get some data sources fixed over here. Like, it's getting the LDAP binds targeted from Jump Cloud, but this event source doesn't make sense, and the metrics way it did these does not work. So, yeah. But yeah, Claude definitely is helpful. I use GitHub Copilot Pro Plus to help me out, and I use VS Code for a lot of my code editing. But I also know a lot of the concepts around code, so I wouldn't implicitly just rely on coding, vibe coding for things. Learn the concepts of things, learn the errors, but with that being said, if you go to work, they're going to basically expect you to be using AI nowadays to do a lot of your coding job. Yeah, learning to code by Googling is full of scams. Yeah, I haven't gone through learning to code through Googling or anything. I literally went through GitHub, studied a bunch of different code for how they did things, made my own projects. So, like, if you go through my GitHub, let me see, can I get my GitHub repo over here? You'll see there are a few projects that I made. Some of them still need some improvements and stuff. But if you go to my repositories over here, you'll see there's a bunch of different stuff over here. But if you go to the very early stuff, you'll see there's stuff like budgeting tools and long weekend planner and offline pass generator. So what are these? Well, these are just little Python scripts for me to learn logic. And I used a little bit of, back then, ChatGPT to learn some logic and worked through the errors. You'll learn more from bad code than you will from good code. And I learned functionally how a lot of this stuff worked from that. Give yourself projects. Just give yourself projects. Could be mundane things, like make a calculator. And then just build it. And over time, you'll get better and better and better. Yeah. I mean, that's literally why I build a lot of the stuff I do. And now I'm at the point where I'm doing a lot more complicated projects. Like, this was a project I put together just this afternoon. This is a Docker with a Jump Cloud was a bridge. And all it does is it talks to Jump Cloud to pipe in my files to Wazza for all the events, and that's what this guy is doing. That's what this dashboard's trying to represent the data for. So you build things up over time, just give yourself projects, and eventually you'll get there. Takes a while, but you'll get there. Also dabbled with the Raspberry Pi as a project. Raspberry Pi is great. I use them. I have a few of them. I don't have PRs here. Oh, that's for... some other fixes I had for my workflow for CI/CD. And my pleasure. And of course, don't forget to join the Discord and the Matrix server too. We got a bunch of people hanging out over there. All right. What's this? Look what you made us patch 2025 0 days in review. So this is the enterprise thing that Google was talking about in this article over here. So yeah, it's not surprising it's enterprise software. It's probably gonna get more as it's probably gonna get worse as time goes on with all the vibe coding and stuff. Because developers suck at security, I'm gonna tell you that. Alright, let's see. One last video for the night. Alright, what is this? The greatest programming language of all time. It probably helps if I show the screen.
Do you use Arch Linux and want to dab on Ubuntu users? Well, you can now program in Arch, by the way, with the I use Arch, by the way programming language. It's based on the programming language BrainFrick, but all of the commands are I use Arch, by the way. So if we want to say I use Arch, by the way, and I use Arch, by the way, we can get the character I, which is the 73rd character in ASCII. All we need to do is increment the value 73 times with the keyword Arch. We can repeat that 73 times in order to increase the value to 73. We can output the character with the keyword BTW, and we can increment the data pointer with I. And now we simply need to do that for every single character in I use Arch, by the way. And finally, we can output I use Arch, by the way, .arch, by the way, with the I use Arch, by the way command line tool. And now you can use I use Arch, by the way, to say I use Arch, by the way, on Arch, by the way. Do you use Arch Linux?
Oh! Someone spent way too much time making that. Someone spent way too much time making that, but I love it. I love it. But anyway, it's getting a little late. I do have work tomorrow. So I will see you all tomorrow for tomorrow night's stream. Thank you all for joining. Make sure, if you haven't already, follow me on Discord. Follow me on Matrix. Join the Matrix, join the Discord. Follow me on YouTube. Follow me on TikTok. Follow me on Blue Sky. Follow me on Mastodon. My links are all in my bio if you don't see them right now in the chat. And of course, yeah. So, I did have some videos come out over this week, and I'm going to have some more videos coming out over this week. I just got to get around to editing them. They'll be on YouTube first. TikTok always gets the scraps. So, if you want the latest and greatest content, always check out the streams. Always check out the YouTube. But other than that, stay safe. I love you all. Happy hacking. If you're on Twitch, stick around for the raid. But I will see you all tomorrow. See you all. Happy hacking.